Welcome back, you filthy exiles. Pardon me, gotta wipe my nose there or scratch my nose, whatever you want to call it. Um, so obviously I haven't done this update video for some time, mainly because I was working on lightning tendies, and then I was like, I wanted to play, I wanted to get back into this build because I wanted to finish min-maxing it. Um, I made some deviations the other night, and I went more defensive route. As you would have seen, this build can now face tank the Crystal King. And there's a mechanic in that fight that I'll probably do a video about how to beat the Crystal King as well, because it's such an easy fight. By the way, this build is really good in Delve because of the way that I've built it, and I'll talk through this build now. So, this isn't the standard RF sort of build that everybody else has been playing. I think there's like one other guy in the ladder that's, this one's at level 94, that's playing it this way. And this is actually a max block version. And it uses the Aegis Aurora, my favorite item. Now, I don't even have the right wand for it yet, because I don't have the +1 fire wand or scepter, because I'm a little lazy and I might just self-craft it. But there's some pretty hectic gear in here. It's not all optimized perfectly, but we're getting there. So anyway, let's talk through the mechanics. So currently with this build, we actually have overcap resistances for cold, fire, which needs to get to 90%, but we'll get there eventually. 78% for lightning, and chaos res 61% dropped down slightly. Max chaos resistance to damage over time, and we've also got essentially max block as well, which is what makes this build a little different, is we have max block. Somehow we've managed to make that work. Negative 30% crit reduction, shock avoidance, freeze avoidance, and that increases with our flask as well to 73% and 50% chill avoidance. We'll talk about flask when we get into the gearing. So this is pretty much your stock Righteous Fire build. I think Dot does close to like 500k damage currently, and that's mainly because I don't have any Awaken gems, except for Awaken AoE. And then obviously Fire Trap is the biggest damage dealer because it's basically a complete sleep skill and OP as hell on Righteous Fire this league, so I'm running Fire Trap. And again, no Awaken gems except for Swift Affliction and Fire Trap. So there's a little bit of work to go into this one. So there's a fair bit of currency that's went into this, like, we've got our Replica Soul Tether, and we'll talk about this shortly. All in all, probably about maybe 20x, as it is right now. Give or take, it's not that expensive to get it working, and this is like deathless farming Delve right now, and as you would have seen, is deathless Crystal Kinging. The only fight that I struggle with, and it's not because of the strength of the build, it's Maven, because Maven just sucks, and it's the worst fight in the game. Some people disagree, and they think it's easy. I just don't like that fight. So anyway, outside of that, it's pretty straightforward. So anyway, that's the build mechanic RF. We all know what it is. Let's get into the gear, because that's the stuff you want to hear about. Okay, gear aspects. So this is where we get into nitty gritty. From last time, the wand has not changed. This is actually a really cheap wand. It is not the wand that you want. You want more like a scepter with the same dot and burning modifiers and fire damage and ignite, and with the exception of +1 to level of all fire skills, this will get your DPS up significantly. Helm. Now we did craft a helm for this, an Elder helm. So you need like an Elder 85 base, and then if you get Essences of Horror, which at the time were 15 Chaos, and they might be more expensive now, then the Essences of Horror, you just hit that on, and then Bob's your uncle, and then you will need to farm Syndicate to get the +1 level of Socketed AoE gems, which is 1 Diviner Orb, or a Divine Orb, sorry. And basically the Essence of Horror will give you that 30% more elemental damage to socketed gems, and then if you can get 20 Conk Effect, even better. I only got 18. I got a really good health regeneration roll, and by default you'll get an AoE roll as well. So those are a couple of the things, and mine are not even maxed out, so if I hit that with a Divine Orb again, I'll probably get a better roll. So anyway, that's my helm. This is not the most expensive helm that you can get. Now, you can get a burning damage version. The reason why I'm not using that, because I crafted both. And this only costs like maybe 20-25 chaos to craft. I got lucky on the first roll. I use the burning damage jewel because, gem, because I'm eventually going to switch to Awaken burning damage, and at level 5 you get +1 level to the skill gem within the actual skill. So that's another +1 level to Righteous Fire, so that when we get the right wand and we get the right jewel, we'll actually have level 24 Righteous Fire. So that's it. And so that's pretty much the helm. Shield, obviously, Aegis Aurora, best shield in the game. It's about 1x at the moment. Still expensive, but if you're delving, easy to get. But even before you get to max block, you can get to like 250 delve really easily, and then go beyond that, so that's not a problem. At Series Foible, obvious thing is this is RF, so increased life regeneration rate is pretty much the target mod that you want on everything to get your life regen up. This one originally was pretty expensive, but with the current version, current level of where the league's at, it's like 40 chaos, so it's dirt cheap. Armor, this is not the best armor that you could get. The best armor you would actually be able to roll on, prefix for 10% of life is converted to energy shield. I can't do that with mine, but I did get some really good implicit rolls, though I need to get rid of the fire damage roll and get that up to maximum fire resist or maximum all resist with the Exarch roll there. So that's pretty much the crux there, but I do get an extra 20% increased maximum energy shield when a unique enemy is present, so that's pretty cool. And then outside of that, I just maxed out resistances, maximum life as much, and also freeze avoidance on mine and dexterity. But you can go any route as long as it sort of does this. Rings, chaos resist, and any other resistances that you need, and straight up life. That's pretty much my targets on my rings. They are both not the best rings on the market, and quite frankly, like this was like 20 or 30C, and this was like 1x, so it's not too expensive. Gloves, completely lucked out. Some guy sold these for 20 chaos, and it had a 16% life regeneration roll, and then I managed to get the 6% fire damage implicit on it, and I still have one more greater roll to get onto it. Just pretty much your target. If you can get life regeneration rate, get it. If you can't, don't stress, just get flat regen. Make sure you got chaos on it. This is how we max out chaos resist. One of our key uniques is the replica soul tether. And the reason why every single RF build uses this is it gives you gain 5% of your max life, which is not the max roll, it's like mid roll. 5% of max life is gained as maximum energy shield. This is also synergized with Corrupted Soul, which does the same effect. But what Corrupted Soul does is it splits your damage that you take equally between your energy shield and your life. So if you're regenerating energy shield and life at the rate that this is, which is like 1658 for ES and then 1507 for life, basically you've got like 3000 regen and an EHP pool of like 7.5 thousand. And you can keep pushing this up the more life that you stack into the build as well, or ES itself. And that's why everybody uses this. It's just perfect for RF for that in that respect. And that leads to Legacy of the Fury. So this one drops off Maven. This is your explodey chest without it being an explodey chest. And basically just scorches your surrounding enemies. So there's no change. This is just a perfect item. As you can see, I don't even have the right enchants on this stuff. So there's still some uberlabbing I need to do, and this is quite powerful as it is. Flasking, every single flask I have, with the except of Forbidden Taste, has the gain charges when hit, and in particular I've got remove curses with my life flask. I've got increased block and stun recovery because I'm max block on my Quicksilver. I've also got increased armor on my ruby flask, and I've got chill and freeze avoidance on my granite flask. So, and then obviously you can't do anything else with Forbidden Taste, but it is what it is, sort of thing. That's pretty much it for the gearing. Very straightforward, not anything too crazy. But anyway, let's talk about the gem setups. All right, gem setups. So we did make some changes since we went to max block. Now in our wand, we've done off-color crafting in the wand, and we have reckoning and life gain on hit. So because this is max block, I always get life back when I proc reckoning, when I hit enemies with reckoning. So I get like 39 as it is currently, and this will probably go up to like 50, 60 life on hit back from reckoning procking. So this is one of my new defensive layers with max block, which is what really keeps me alive and synergizes between the ES replenishment of 2% of total armor that I get from my Aegis Aurora. So yeah. And then we've got Infernal Cry, which we just have casting off mana because we've got enough mana to sustain that. And by the time this cools down, and mana's recharged. The reason why I'm doing this is the only skill that uses mana in this entire build, so it can handle it. In the helm, Righteous Fire, level 21, Awaken increased area of effect, Elemental Focus, and Burning damage support. In my shield, Malevolence, Determination, and Purity of Fire. This doesn't use Purity of Elements, it doesn't need to. I balance this without using Purity of Elements, so you don't need to do that. The reason why I run Purity of Fire is it gives you plus 4% additional maximum fire resistance, which is much more useful to a Righteous Fire build than Purity of Elements. In the chest, I've got my Fire Trap, Control Destruction, Elemental Focus, Awaken Swift Affliction, Life Tap, and Burning damage. And this is basically Life Tap's in it so I can just keep casting it without any sort of ramification. I do have in my Unset Ring Tempest Shield, level 21 Tempest Shield, because this is max block, so I need Tempest Shield. And then in my gloves, I've got a Life Tap set up with Arcanist Brand, and I'm running Flammability and Flame Surge, which increases my bossing damage. Then in my boots, again, Life Tap, Molten Shell, and I just have that mapped to my move button. And then I have Shield Charge and Faster Attacks, which is giving me high mobility. Now, some would argue that I should have Flame Dash in this build. No, you don't need it, unless you're really doing maps that require you to be mobile over terrain. But this is so you can basically hammer clear speed and just absolutely trash your way through the game without having to muck around with Flame Dash. Gem setup's really simple stuff. That's pretty much it. Alright, Atlas passives. So I did do some work on this to sort of max it out. I did take away the little bit of damage that I had coming from here to save like 1 or 2 points, and I went up through the int nodes through here now. And then basically I came down, picked up Glancing Blows, and then you'll need to get these nodes here, and Sanctuary. This will give you increased elemental resistances anyway, which is why this doesn't need Purity of Elements. And then we come down, we're going to pick up all of the same nodes coming down to get Juggernaut, Armory Master, 30% reduced crit damage taken. Obviously Hearty, because that's going to give you life regen. We come up, we get Heart of the Warrior. We want this node here with Corrupted Blood cannot be inflicted on me. And this is mainly just so we can absolutely max out all of our resistances and overcap them. Solar Steel, you'll get Bloodless and then come down and pick up to this 8% reservation efficiency, and this is going to get your mana reservation down. Now, I don't have Unwavering Stance. Quite frankly, you don't need it. If you're going to die from stuns with Righteous Fire and you've got this much defense, then you just haven't built the build properly at the end of the day, and you need to revise it. I also don't have Call to Arms because I just can't fit it in right now. I need to get to level 96 to unlock that, and I'm not sure I'm going to do that because, quite frankly, you can just self-cast. This does so much damage even in this lesser state that you don't really need it. I've done everything in the end game except kill Maven, and that's because I'm just bad at Maven. And I've gotten her in the last phase. It's completely all doable. So then you come up, you'll pick up your Sovereignty node, Purity of Flesh, obviously Holy Fire, Fire Mastery for Dot. We also are going to get Arcane Guarding, and this is going to give me increased spell block so I can max that out, and also increase my overall energy shield and block recovery. So we basically hit 50% block recovery straight away. So, we're using max block. This keeps us chunking along. We come down, pick up Acrimony. Quite frankly, you do not need this 10% less damage taken over time. It has like no effect on this build, at least in the current state. A lot of people have done this, but it's a bit of a wasted node, to be honest with you. Some people will argue with me and tell me I'm wrong. My response is, I don't care. This works for me, and I'm farming like 300 plus delve right now, pretty easily, and face tanking the Crystal King, so come at me. Then come across and grab Breath of Flames, and then also Cruel Preparations. Now, we do have a large cluster, which uses Burning Bright, Prismatic Heart, and Disorienting Display. And this applies some minor blinds as well, which is another defensive layer. We then use Smoking Remains and Student of Decay. This is giving you Dot, more Chaos Res, and then obviously Smoke Cloud as well. And then I just have like a dot strength, strength and dex sort of damage over time gem. Yeah, I probably can get rid of strength and dex now and actually shift it to using burning damage, which is probably like 1x to get that jewel, and it's going to increase my damage again. And I do have a Watcher's Eye in this build, which gives me 10% recovery rate when of life and energy shield from using Malevolence, and 10% physical damage from hits taken as fire damage while affected by Purity of Fire. Those two mods really help in Delve, especially the second one with Purity of Fire. Other builds will use increased damage over time. It depends on if you want more damage or if you never want to die. In my case, I like not dying because it means you can level up quicker. But each to their own. Anyway, that's pretty much the build. Like, there's not much else that goes into this. It's actually quite straightforward. There's like no other jewels in the build aside from those two jewels. So yeah. Alright, you always ask for Pantheons and I always forget it. So Soul of Arakali, pretty much all unlocks for dealing with dot, which is why we don't need that 10% reduction in dot. It's a waste of time. We're running Soul of Arakali. We could get stronger if we went Soul Solaris, but I just don't see the point. We're so tanky with max block as it is. It makes no difference. This makes more sense for dealing with dot enemies. And then Solar Greathcool. We could get Soul Tukahama, which is going to give us more stationary regen and stationary damage. But Solar Greathcool is just better for dealing with maps and bosses, and also dealing with like Soul of Steel enemies. It cuts down their attack speed, so that gives my regen more time to regen, which makes more sense than just stacking more regen, because it's not really a solution to the problem. The problem is enemies hit you too quick. So if you can slow that down, then it means your block can re-trigger and recover a lot quicker, and it synergizes better with how this build works. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the build. If you've got any comments or questions, feel free to put them in the description. I am trying to get to as many comments as I can. I've just been quite busy over the last week, obviously, which is why this video is taking so long to get done. But yeah, anyway, as always, like and sub, post in the comments, and yeah, have a good one all, and bye.